Last class we have seen example grammars representing formal languages, and the agenda for today is to formally define what is a grammar, and also we shall see some formal notations which shall help us in defining a language accepted by or represented by a grammar. So the topic for today is formal definitions and notations associated with regular grammars. First, we need to define a grammar formally. For that, we can consider an example grammar that we discussed in the previous class. If you recall, this is the second example grammar with 4 productions that we discussed in the previous class. We will try to use this example for formally defining what a grammar is. We can define a grammar G as a quadruple V, T, S, P. With this example, we can see what are these components which will make the definition very clear. So, V is nothing but in this example set capital AB, and formally it is a finite set of non-terminals or variables. In this example, only capital A and capital B are the variables. In this course, we will be using capital English letters to represent variables or non-terminals in a grammar. So, it is just a finite set of variables or non-terminals. And now, what is T? In this example, T is this set small a, small b, and formally it is the finite set of terminals, also called alphabets, and that is why it is called a T, set of terminals. And next, capital S, in this case it is capital A, and formally it is the start symbol of the grammar, which is basically a non-terminal in the grammar. One of the non-terminal must be designated as the start symbol. You know what is the significance of start symbol? In this lecture also later, when we formally define derivation, we can see why a start symbol is required. And the last component P, in this case there are set of 4 productions or rules. It is formally it is a finite set of productions or rules. Each rule or production is of the form a variable, then its definition, meaning in the derivation process the variable can be replaced with this definition. I hope you remember how we did it. So, this is how one can formally define a grammar. Now, let us proceed and define what are sentences and sentential form. We will use the same example grammar, and here it shows some example sentential forms. So, these are all 4 examples are given, and what are they? Formally, a sentential form alpha is defined as a string of terminals and non-terminals which can be derived from the start symbol capital S of the given grammar. In this example, capital A is the start symbol. It is actually any string of terminals and non-terminals. This is how you write it. Alpha is an arbitrary string of variables or terminals, which can be derived from the start symbol. For example, if you look at the third string, it is a string of a single terminal. So the definition is okay. By definition, this is okay, and it's not only a string, it must be derivable from the start symbol. If you start from capital A, applying this production, you will get small a followed by capital B. Then if you apply the last production for B, you will just replace capital B with epsilon, and that will allow you to derive a followed by epsilon, which is nothing but a. You can verify in every other case, each one is a sentential form by this definition. Now we can see examples of sentences. Here you can see examples of sentences. The only difference is that here it is a string of terminal symbols. Non-terminals are not allowed, and that is the only difference. Otherwise the definition is same. A sentence X is defined as a string of terminals which can be derived from the start symbol. That means you can derive the string of terminals X from the start symbol using 0 or more steps. Star stands for 0 or more. Okay, in the next slide we shall derive or define derivation, which will make this notation more clear. Okay, now you do not have to worry about this notation. Okay, basically it means if you can derive the terminal string X from the start symbol, then this is a sentence. For example, you can verify that each one of these 4 terminal strings represents a sentence. Now it is not difficult to see that every sentence is a sentential form, because by definition a sentential form is a string of variables and terminals, and a sentence is a string of terminals. So a sentence also is a sentential form, but not the other way. I hope you are getting me. Now let us proceed and see what is a derivation formally. Last class we have seen many derivations. Again consider the same example, and these are the derivations that we looked at in the last class. I am just copying it. And formally, derivation is the process of generating a sentence from the start symbol by applying a sequence of productions. For example, if you look at the third derivation, initially on the start symbol capital A, I applied the first production. So I can replace the capital A with small a followed by capital B. That's what I did here. Then what I do is I am applying the second production for B. B has got 3 productions. I am applying the second one. That means now you can replace a capital B with a small b, capital B. So here I am going to replace capital B with a small b, capital B. That's what I did. And finally here I am applying the last production for B and deriving small ab, which is a sentence. So now you can say that the sentence AB is derived or generated from the start symbol by applying a sequence of 3 productions, and they are this one, and the last one. And now you can look at the notation for derivation. You can read this as from A in 0 or more steps you can derive AB. Capital A star implies small ab means the sentence small ab can be derived from A using 0 or more steps. Star stands for 0 or more. So that is the notation. Now we have got enough materials for deriving or defining the language generated by a grammar. Look at the same example. In the previous lecture we saw that the language represented is this. The language represented by the grammar G is the set of all strings over AB starting with A. You can verify it, that is exactly the language. It's because from the start simple you have to apply the single production which will generate small a as the first simple of the sentence that you can derive. Formally, the language L of G generated by a grammar is the set of all sentences derivable from the start simple S. So you can write this mathematically as the language of G is the set of all terminal strings X such that X can be derived from the start simple using 0 or more steps. So that is the language. With this, now proceed and see what is a linear grammar. So today we have defined what a grammar is. Now we are going to see what kind of a grammar is called linear. Look at an example. I am giving you an example linear grammar LG, and here there are two roots and only one variable which is the start simple, and it is not difficult to see that the language represented is this: n number of A's followed by n number of B's, where n is any natural number, and it is not to be a non-regular language. Okay, and formally a grammar G with this as the set of variables, this as the set of terminals, the start simple and set of rules or productions, that grammar is called linear if there is at most one terminal or variable in the RHS of every production in P. For example, here in the RHS only one variable and here no variable. If every rule or production satisfies this requirement that in the RHS at most one variable, then the grammar is called a linear grammar. Okay. Now we can proceed and define what is called a right linear grammar. So it is a special kind of a linear grammar. It is linear but satisfying more conditions. Example is here, and here you can see that it is linear because every production, the RHS contains at most one variable. Here 1, 1, 1, here 0. So it is a linear grammar. But you can also see that every time if there is a variable which is appearing as the rightmost variable in it, then that is what a linear grammar is. And here you know that the language is set of all strings starting with A, and the definition is this: a grammar G is called right linear if it is linear and the non-terminal or variable if present in the RHS of a production like this here will appear as the rightmost simple in the RHS. This must be the case for every production or rule. And here you have a variable which is the rightmost, here again, here as well, and here no variable. So if there is a variable, that must be the rightmost variable in the RHS. If each production or rule satisfies this property in a linear grammar, then the grammar can be classified as right linear grammar. It's not a difficult definition. And similarly, you can define what is called left linear grammar. And note that in a right linear grammar, the RHS of a production in a right linear grammar is of the form a terminal string followed by a variable, or just a terminal string. For example, here it is a terminal string, here a terminal string followed by a variable. Okay, it could be a terminal string. Here it's just a simple, but in general it can be a terminal string. So now can you define what is a left linear grammar? It's easy. Here is an example. The only variable if present must be the leftmost simple. Here you can see that the language is same, the set of all strings starting with A, and the definition goes like this. A grammar G is called left linear if it is linear and the non-terminal or variable is present like this of a production of the RHS of a production will appear as the leftmost simple in the RHS. Okay, that is a left linear grammar. So the form of the RHS is like this. It is a variable followed by a terminal string or just a terminal string. Okay, that's the left linear grammar. Now we have enough information to formally define what is called a regular grammar. At this point of time, it's a very simple definition. A grammar G is named as regular if it is either left linear or right linear. Okay, a regular grammar is either a left linear grammar or right linear grammar. That's it. Now we can recollect some regular grammars that we discussed in the last class. All the three examples we are going to look at again. So here is a regular grammar 1. Not that it is left linear, because every production in the RHS, if a variable is there, it is the leftmost variable. So it's a left linear grammar. Not difficult to verify that this is the language. Another example, which is a right linear grammar. Every time the RHS, if a variable is there, which is appearing as the rightmost simple in the RHS. So this is again regular, and the language is set of all strings ending with B. Now you have the last example here. Note that this is again a regular grammar because it's right linear. Every time in the RHS, if there is a variable which appears as the rightmost variable, so it satisfies the requirement for a right linear grammar, and hence by definition it's regular. The language is this: one or more repetitions of the string AB. That's the language. Now before we wind up, let us look at some example non-regular grammars. Okay, we can see why and when a grammar is non-regular. First example, this is a non-regular grammar. Can you see why? Production number 2 is okay, but 1 is not satisfying left linearity or right linearity. To be left linear, the variable must be the leftmost variable. To be right linear, the variable must be the rightmost variable. So it's neither left linear nor right linear. So it's a non-regular grammar, and not that the language is again non-regular. Grammar G2. Maybe in a quick look it appears like it's regular but non-regular, because the grammar is not left linear, because if you look at this production, the variable is not appearing as the leftmost variable, hence the grammar cannot be classified as left linear because of this production. Similarly, because of the second production or rule, it cannot be classified as right linear. So it is again neither left linear nor right linear. I hope you are getting me. Individually this production is right linear, this is left linear, and this is both left and right linear. But as a whole, it is neither left linear nor right linear, because for a left linear grammar, every production must satisfy left linearity, but this production or rule fails to satisfy it. Similarly, the second production fails to satisfy the condition for right linearity. In the last example, can you see why is this grammar not a regular grammar? Because it's not even a linear grammar, it's non-linear, because in a linear grammar in the RHS, maximum one variable is allowed, but the first production in the RHS contains two variables. So this is not even a linear grammar and hence cannot be a regular grammar. With this, we are coming to the end of this lecture, and I am giving you two example languages for you to practice how can you come up with a regular grammar for this. For each one, you try to come up with a right linear grammar or a left linear grammar. Okay, not difficult. Anyway, we will be discussing the solution in the next tutorial class. So today we have formally defined a grammar, then we have seen sentences and sentential forms. After that, we formally defined the process of derivation, and then we defined the language represented or generated by grammar, and then we defined linear grammar, left linear grammar, and right linear grammar. Then using it, we defined regular grammar as a grammar which is either left linear or right linear. Thank you.